I just saw Beast in theaters starring Idris Elba. This is an action suspense film that really did its job. This was a super pleasant surprise to see from Hollywood, an independent movie without a pre-existing fan base. It was just a breath of fresh air, and I'm super excited to talk about it. This is a film about a single dad and his two daughters who go out visiting South Africa and run into some trouble. There's a lion hunting them. You can see this in the trailer, so this isn't spoiling anything. But that's about all the trailer gives you, and I really appreciated that because I went into this not really knowing what to expect other than that premise. But it turned out better than the trailer in my opinion. And I have to say, right off the bat, it's really also a breath of fresh air that it was just a lion. There's no supernatural creature or anything. This is simply a lion in South Africa hunting people. I just recently watched Prey, which is a similar concept, a movie where something's hunting someone, and I have to say, this blew it out of the water. And they took this premise to the max. I mean, you almost would think it was a supernatural beast because of just how intense the movie was, but it really was just a lion. And without spoiling anything, there were just a lot of moments where I went with my dad and both of our hearts were racing. There were parts where nothing's really happening except for sounds in the background. They really use surround sound well. If you have the chance to go see this in a Cinemark XD theater like we have around us, I highly recommend it. You could hear twigs snapping and rustling in the distance, and you don't know if it's actually the beast or not or what it is. All you know is that it's making you nervous. And so your heart's racing even in moments where nothing's really happening. To add to that, a lot of the scenes were one takes. And I know technically they probably weren't. I could kind of tell in certain parts where it was probably stitched together cleverly so that you couldn't really tell. But still, it added to the suspense because it was just constant. You got no relief through most of the film. I think Act 2 was the best act of this movie, and it did that really, really well in a few scenes. And I have to mention the performances. Idris Elba really surprised me here. I always liked him as an actor, but I've never seen him in a movie like this before, with him being the main character and kind of driving it. I know he's been in a few other movies where he's the main guy, but I wasn't as big on them. I think this is his best movie, in my opinion. And his daughters did really well too in the film. They were extremely good, kid actors. And his friend in the film was really cool too. So all around, really, really good performances, really believable performances. And there were little dynamics between him and his daughter in the film, and there's this sort of backstory that you're picking up on as we're moving through the film. And I thought it was clever. They never come right out and tell you what really happened or create big dramatic scenes. It's little comments here and there, and it made it feel more realistic because you know how it is with kids or with a family. There's little comments here or there, or things that upset people, and then you kind of get into an argument really fast. It's not this big set piece dramatic scene like a lot of movies do. It just felt like this was really grounded and it felt very believable and real. So like I said, Beast was a really pleasant surprise with great performances, super cool camera work. It was just so well directed, and the sound was really, really memorable. If you can go see this in a theater with awesome surround sound and really good bass, I highly recommend it. This was just a really fun movie. Sometimes I think, like, what's the point of a movie? Is just to entertain you. Well, I was highly entertained, so I have to recommend it. Go check it out. Again, I saw the trailer. I wasn't that big on it. I thought it looked okay, but this was much better than the trailer. I also have to say it was really pleasantly surprising to see the whole theater full in a movie that, again, that isn't part of an IP, isn't really based on anything else, doesn't have a pre-existing fan base. These are just people going to see a movie, and it was really cool to see the theater packed. I was really surprised by that. It makes me happy. I hope that they keep releasing more movies like this that are just one-off, really entertaining action suspense films. I would love that. I think a lot of other people would as well. As for complaints, I really don't have much. The only thing I'd really say, it's not a perfect film. If I'm really nitpicking, looking beyond the fact that I was just highly entertained, I guess I could say that the beast itself sort of appears and then disappears at convenient times sometimes, and it kind of took me out of the movie in really small ways. But I think I was overthinking it a little bit. I don't think probably it's something that many people are going to worry about, and it didn't do it so bad that it was like blaringly obvious. I just think there were some convenient moments where all of a sudden the beast was there, then he's not, and the characters were able to get something done, and then all of a sudden he's back later. I don't know. I mean, to a degree, it worked because it made it seem unpredictable when he was going to appear again. But at the same time, not really. But again, you could argue that adds to the realism because a lion is gonna stalk its prey and do all sorts of stuff. It's not just gonna constantly attack. So I guess to a degree it added to the realism, which again was another pro of this film, by the way, is just it's so realistic. You can see this actually happening. Highly recommend going to check out Beast. That's about it. Thanks.